Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, 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 my darlings. Today is all about how to have the best Slickmas. Now, I am going to be joined in a second by the very, very, very wonderful Ruby from Leaf Hairdressing. I'm going to bring her in. She says... Oh, technology. Here we go. Where are we? Leaf. So today, my darlings, we're going to be talking all about how we make sure that we have the best Slickmas ever, and we make sure that we deal with cancellations properly, because I know cancellations can be a very, very, very difficult topic, especially because it's so emotionally charged. So I have to confess, my loves, I am having some slight Wi-Fi technical difficulties. Catalina, darling, if you're watching, can you give me the Leaf Instagram, because it's not coming up on here for some reason. I think it's because of my awful internet this evening. Sorry, darlings. I tell you what, Ruby, I'm going to come at you from the Hair by Ruby, because for some reason I can't get the leaf in. But anyway, darlings, welcome.
Hi.
Hello, darlings. Sorry,
Hello,
we're having
how are
a
you?
manner of technical difficulties today. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you,
Good.
my darling. Thank you so much for joining
You're
us.
welcome. Thank you.
Leaf, so you work for Leaf.
Yeah, I'm the manager at Leaf.
You are the manager at Leaf. Now, Leaf is one of our most amazing salons. You are absolutely smashing it. And it's such a joy to see. And we want to talk to you today about how to have the best Christmas ever.
Yeah.
Particularly on the topic of cancellations, which we all know is a very difficult topic.
Yeah.
Especially because it's so emotionally charged. And the videos that you've put out already, that we've posted, have already had an impact. I spoke to a salon today who said, I watched Ruby's video and she made so much sense. So for those of us that haven't seen the videos, what we want to talk about today is your experience with cancellations, how you have ensured that the business is as profitable as possible. So I've got a couple of questions for you. So first of all, to give us an idea, what has your experience of cancellations and no-shows been within the business, and how has it affected you and the team?
Yeah, so before COVID, everything that we did was pen and paper. So pen and paper, you would ring, you would make your appointment, and that was it. It was after COVID when we thought, right, we need a proper system, like we need to do this properly. So yeah, once upon a time, there was a time when people would make appointments. Maybe they would ring a few salons, book appointments everywhere, and they'd just go to the first one they wanted to.
Yeah.
And if you weren't taking a deposit, you just completely weren't in control of that. So I would say after COVID, that was when we said, right. So we joined Slick. And even in the beginning, there wasn't always a setting where you could see who had paid deposits and who hadn't. So my boss, which is my mum, she got in touch with Slick and just said, is there any way that you can make something so we can see who's paid deposits and who hasn't? So a massive one for us is the fact that when I've requested a client for a deposit, I can see, well, it says a little DR next to their name. So I can see DR, they've been requested. Now, every night I go through Slick and I check all my DRs to see who's paid, who hasn't. So if you do get somebody not turning up to their appointment, that is completely your fault in my eyes. That is your fault, because that could have been avoided. So really, it's just about not being lazy, going through your column the night before. Well, not the night before, the week before. Because if you go through your column the night before, that's too last minute. Because if someone's not going to come to their appointment, it's the night before. So I'm just really, really organised and just really, really on it with that. Yeah.
Good. That's so lovely to hear, because obviously when you get a cancellation,
Yeah.
not only is it a horrible emotional
Yeah.
thing, but you're then left with an empty
Yeah.
slot that you're still
Time.
paying for.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, the way I think of it is, say if you worked in like an office, and your boss rang you and said, right, we don't need you for 3 hours and you're not getting paid. So that's how it is with us. So if a client doesn't come in and you've got full head of highlights booked in, full colour, and they don't turn up, that's 3 hours you're not getting paid for. So why should that happen? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's this sort of element within the industry, or there's this thought within the industry that it's just part and parcel of the industry, and we just have to deal with it and just take it on the head.
Yeah.
But you don't need to.
No.
And
No.
I think it's just about almost putting your big girl pants on and saying, no, this is my business.
And I think in the beginning, when you just start doing it, you're quite soft with people. You don't want to lose clients. You don't want to upset anyone. And that's completely what I was like. I wouldn't really put my foot down. And now I just do, because I just think it's my time. And if you want to respect that, great. If not, like, go elsewhere. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah. And
exactly.
People that want to come to you will respect that. And that's brilliant. And most people will. It's rare that someone's awkward about it. And when they are, you just have to know how to be professional about it, and I feel like I am now. I know how to deal with that.
So in the beginning, you were quite nervous about it.
Yeah, nervous about asking people for money before they come, because I wasn't used to it. But then I was always stressed, thinking, what if they don't come? And a lot of the time they didn't, because we weren't taking deposits. So I think now I'm like angry if someone hasn't paid a deposit. And well, I'm not angry about it, but I look and I think, ooh, that's a bit of a red flag. But I mean, you can look through your column and it flags up to you. And I think as well, what you've got to remember is sometimes, say there's been quite a few occasions I've had a regular booking and I haven't taken a deposit, because say if I've been busy that night, I thought, right, I'll just let them off. I just won't take a deposit, whatever, they'll come. They don't come because they can't afford it, or something's happened, their little boy's ill. So I think it's just trying to make sure that you do take them from everyone where you can, because it's not just like clients who aren't irregulars that are going to let you down. Regulars can as well.
Yeah.
And
in fact, we've just had a question from Thomas Austin. Do you take deposits for your regulars that book in month to month in salon?
So yes, I mean, my mum has quite a lot of older clients that aren't good with their phones. Some of them don't even have iPhones. They're not good with technology. So for a lot of her clients, she doesn't take deposits, and that's fine. For big colours and stuff, she still does. For myself, I take them from everybody, even just for cut and blow dries. If somebody doesn't want to pay the deposit, or just says they have no way, I say, well, you can come in and pay cash, because some people don't trust the online system, which I respect that. Like, I do think signing up to things online, especially with all the scams going on, it's quite an uneasy thing. And even like with myself, I don't like signing up to things, so I do completely understand if somebody doesn't want to sign up. But if they're a new client and I don't know who they are, I just say, no problem, you can come in and I can do that in the shop for you. But yeah, I mean, if you don't take a deposit for every single regular, I'm not going to stress about it, because most regulars, they don't let you down. They do come to their appointments. So I guess answer to that is yes and no, really, to be honest. Yeah.
But I mean, even if that regular client does have some extenuating circumstances and you've taken the deposit, you do have the option to send it back to them, don't you?
Yeah, you absolutely do. I mean, there's been times I have, or if basically, it's usually what happens is if somebody doesn't turn up to their appointment like a regular and they haven't paid a deposit, if they've got a valid reason and they're really, really sorry about it, I just honour it and I'm like, it's fine, because I'm a true believer and it's how you go about it. So my mum had a client, it was basically a gent booked in with her last week, and he just didn't turn up to his appointment. That was that. Anyway, I think it was 2 days later, he came into the salon in person and apologised. He was like, I'm really, really sorry. So he could have just sent a text and said, sorry, I couldn't make it. But he came into the salon, made another appointment, and he was just really sorry. So I just think it's how you go about it as well. Yeah. How you go about it. Yeah.
Exactly. And, okay, question. When you are taking a deposit for a booking that's made over the phone, or the client is in front of you, do you have something particular that you say? Do you have a script that you use? Is there a particular thing that you say?
This is what I struggled with at the beginning, was how to say, how basically to word it, like they have to pay it.
Yeah.
So now what I say is, and I tell all my staff to say as well, is say, I'm just going to send you a deposit link. Once the deposit's been paid, that confirms your booking. So that's basically saying if you haven't paid your deposit, the appointment's not confirmed, which is true. So it's just making it clear that, you know, their deposit is their appointment's confirmed once the deposit's paid. That's how you word it.
Good. Good.
And if they've got any questions, that's fine. You can answer their questions.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, just going back to the you know, how some people are nervous about taking you know, paying a deposit on a link. I have found with some of my salons, when that situation comes up, again, as with everything, it all comes down to communication. And what they've been saying is, look, it's a safe and secure link. Just as you do something on Amazon, or you put your bank details in, you know, Sainsbury's, whatever, it's the same thing.
100%.
Have you tried anything with that?
I mean, yeah, I definitely. I have tried stuff with, like, I have tried saying it's just the same as this, it's just the same as that. But I think you can reassure people sometimes. But I think if someone's like saying, no, I'm not signing up for anything, you can't really try and convince them, is what I've learned from my experience.
Yes.
Someone's just said, how much deposit do you ask for? I ask for 50%. 50%. I think the only time that can become an issue is if it's a big amount. So some of my big balayage packages I charge over £200. So if someone hasn't been paid yet, 50% of that is quite a lot of money. If you're paying bills, if you've got nursery fees to pay for, food, just general life stuff, that is expensive. And I do appreciate that, but then I also appreciate that I have to be paid as well.
Yeah.
So if somebody really wants to come to you, they will pay that, and that's fine.
Exactly. And I think what we often miss is two things, or what clients miss is two things. One, you're not paying anything extra.
Yeah.
You're just paying part of your service now.
Yeah.
The other thing is that if you are having a big service done and you're paying your deposit now and you're coming in 6 weeks time, you get to split your bill across 2 paychecks.
Yeah, 100%.
Which works really nicely for them as well.
Do you know, my client I had this morning, actually, she's getting married, and I was doing her wedding colour, and first thing she said when she came in, she said, I feel like I'm getting half of it for free because I've paid half of my appointment. And I said, exactly, that is how it is. So the people that don't mind paying deposits will actually love the fact that they paid half of it already.
Exactly.
So not everyone's negative about it, actually. They're really not.
Exactly. And then, of course, it means that if you want to sell them a retail product as well, they're only paying half. So you end up paying more. You end up earning more.
100%.
Wilson Chantel says, this is my first Christmas having my own business. Oh, darling, well, congratulations. Certainly get your deposits in place. Paul says we take 50% and it's not a problem.
Not a problem at all. And make sure that you're going through deposits now. So for now, I'm already going through my December book, even though I'm still at the beginning of November, and checking deposits have been paid, requests have been made. It's really, really important, especially December, like it's so busy. And people that can't get booked in with you will go and book elsewhere. So I would just say, really be firm with deposits now. Go through your bookings now and do it. Don't leave.
Exactly. I think
in December you're going to be that busy, you're not going to have the time to catch up. So now is the time actually to do that.
I completely agree. You know, if you want to have a profitable Christmas, now is the time to get deposits in place so that clients get used to it. Go through your diary in December now, like you say, and make sure that everybody's got a deposit and has paid a deposit. I think that's brilliant.
And not everyone does have a little bit of time. Like you have to. If you can run a business and you're doing your job, you do have a little bit of time somewhere. Even if it's just 5 minutes to go through, you have to make the time. If you want money, you have to make the time. So
exactly.
Exactly.
You're such a firecracker. I love it. So anybody, if you've got questions that's watching, please do pop them in the comments box. I think one of the biggest questions I get when speaking to my salons is, if I put a deposit in place, are my clients going to leave? What would you say to that?
I would say no. Do you mean like if you just suddenly start this rule that you take deposits? No, definitely not. I mean, my family have had this salon for 30 years nearly, and we have clients still that have been coming for 30 years that are happy to pay deposits. It's just they've had to adapt to the change. So, I mean, if someone really, really likes you, like they love you doing their hair, they want to come to the salon, then paying a deposit is not a problem, absolutely, because
Exactly.
they're going to come to their appointments. I mean, we've had definitely, I'm not going to sit here and say nobody's questioned deposits, because they have.
Yeah.
So some people will have questioned it and they'll say, oh, I haven't had to pay deposits before. Like, is this a new thing? And you just explain it. You just be polite and nice and explain it. And a nice person wouldn't have a problem with that.
Exactly. And I think that's the key for any change that you make in your business is communication.
100%. And it's just how you go with it.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think, you know, it's important at this point to stand firm as business owners and say, look, this is my business.
Yeah.
I have to ensure that I am making enough money and therefore I have to take a deposit. Chantel says, what if my regulars don't want to? What do I say?
They should want to. If they're your regulars for a reason. They should want to. And I think if they don't want to, then you just have to have a good conversation with them about what's going wrong. I mean, I don't think you should worry too much about regulars not wanting to do what you're asking. I think they will, because they like you. But hopefully they can just, you know, come to some sort of agreement with you if there's something that I'm not happy about, I would say.
Exactly.
To agree. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think, you know, there's a very key phrase that we can use in this situation, which is, this is salon policy. And by saying this is salon policy, you are taking the emotional element out of the situation. So it's nothing to do with me. It's nothing to do with you or your loyalty, Mrs. Smith, or whatever. This is just a policy that we have had to put in place.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone has to follow.
Your hands, really, it is out. If you say it's salon policy, it is out of your hands. It's got nothing personal to do with anyone.
Exactly. Exactly. And do you have deposits for online bookings as well as in salon bookings?
Yeah, so well, our salon policy is you can only do online bookings for styling appointments. And I actually did a video about this on Instagram the other day. That's just because from previous experience, people have booked online for colours that they shouldn't have because they don't know what things are called, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, just styling appointments, blow dries, men's haircuts, anything like that can be online. But when you do book online through Slick for that, it automatically asks you for a 50% deposit. So all the online bookings, they take a deposit anyway. But it's just for colours. And I mean, even a cut and blow dry, if a cut and blow dry rings it and books over the phone, I will have to send a deposit. But if you do it through the online bookings, it'll just take them automatically.
Exactly, exactly. Which is, it takes away that conversation, so you don't have to have the conversation. If you are thinking about putting colour services online, you can start with very small ones like root tints or something. And you've got the descriptions as well. So some of my salons will write amazing descriptions that clients book in for the right thing. But I would recommend for any salon owner that is watching, if you do have online booking, please have deposits in place, because
100%.
As you know, Ruby, that's where you get a lot of new clients.
You have to.
How do you find training the rest of the team to take deposits? Do you feel there's any pushback from the girls? How do you find that?
Not massively. I think apprentices forget to, which is absolutely normal, because when I was an apprentice, I would forget to do a million things. They're not terrible, but it's just keep reminding them. Stylists, I would say, do. I mean, even if I'm doing a full lot of highlights and the salon phone rings, I don't have a receptionist. I have to go and answer the phone. And if I don't have, well, I'm trying to quickly do it. So then I remember in my head later on, I have to go back and send a deposit request. So it's just kind of getting everyone to remember to do that. So stylists wise, I would say it is a little bit harder if they're busy, because we share the phone out. Apprentices are pretty good with it, to be honest. I'm just reminding them. So sometimes I'll see one of my girls is on the phone, or the apprentices, and I'll say, did you take a deposit request? And they say, no, I didn't. And when they do that, I always say, you've got to ring them back and tell them, because if you send a deposit request, they could possibly ring up and say, but I didn't get warned about a deposit, which is absolutely right. So I just make them ring them back and explain, because I don't think you can do anything without, it's just communication. You have to tell the person. So a lot of people actually get quite upset about the fact they're getting asked for a deposit when they're not being told. To me, that wouldn't upset me. Say if I was going to get a beauty service somewhere, that wouldn't upset me, but that's because I'm in the industry, so I know how it works. But a lot of clients are not in the industry, so they do get offended when they get asked for a deposit, and they haven't been warned. So it's just telling everyone.
Yeah. I mean, if we think back to COVID times, we had to pay a deposit to go to a restaurant.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
But people seem to have forgotten all about that.
Yeah.
So in terms of deposits, like going forward, is everybody in charge of their own column to check and chase the deposits, or do you
everybody everybody is in charge, but I think because everybody knows that I'm like the deposit police, the kind of me, that I'm not complaining about that, because I like that everyone knows that I will do that, because like I have the time to do that. I make sure I've got the time. I do tell everybody, like I tell the apprentices, please just, when you're not doing anything, sit, have a look, go through, check the books. Stylists as well, I always remind them. Obviously, like my mum's really busy, so I just sort hers out. And as I say, she doesn't take too many for people. But I think all in all, everyone listens, and I am mostly in charge of that. But again, I don't mind, because I've got the time to sit and look.
Well, I think the key phrase that you said there, which is very poignant, is I make the time.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, a lot of salon owners will say, I'm too busy, I'm too busy, I'm too busy, I've got too much stuff going on.
Yeah.
You can make the time, can't you?
If you want to be successful, you have to make the time. You cannot make excuses. And when I have made an excuse and I haven't made the time, I have had a no-show, and that is my fault. It has happened. There has been so many times in the past when I just haven't checked that someone's paid the deposit, and they're not coming. That is my fault. So it's just, if you don't want that to happen, you have to make the time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And one more, I know we've not stuck to our questions at all. We've gone on a lovely tangent, but I'm thoroughly enjoying myself. Do you do anything on social media as well about what your cancellation policy is?
No, not too much. My personal one, I'm always putting things on. Like if anyone hasn't paid the deposits, can you please pay a deposit? On our Instagram, I don't put too much on, but I think it's just because I ring people. So if anything flags up, I do call them. Yeah, I mean, I can't lie, I don't put too much on, but on Slick, our Slick system sends texts out to every single client that's got an appointment. It's either 24 hours or I think it's 48 hours before, actually. And for that reason, if somebody does ring up as soon as they get the text and cancel, that's purely because they've seen the text. The texts do work. So for me personally, I don't feel like we need to put too much on Instagram about deposits, but I do have like a little highlight on like salon policy.
Good.
So people can go on and read. They can go on the website and read. It's just I'm not necessarily putting constant stories on about it, because I'm letting them know in like other areas, whether I'm ringing them or they're getting the text.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that you've got something on your Instagram and you've got it on your website is fantastic. Your cancellation policy is obviously there when clients book online and all that stuff.
Yeah, because the last thing you want is somebody saying, "Well, I couldn't see the policy." You need it there in black and white for everyone. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, my last question. If you've got a booking in the diary that is fast approaching, they have not paid their deposit, you've tried to call them, you've tried to contact them, what do you do?
Right, so this is quite a good one, actually. So what we do in this case, which does again happen sometimes, like they've booked an appointment, they've been in for a consultation, they've been skin tested, they've been told about the deposit, and then they just kind of like ghost. It doesn't happen much, but it does.
Yeah, it does.
So if you've got the correct number, great. So I always make sure you've got the correct number for someone, because in the past we've had previous staff that don't work here anymore that would just not really care and just put wrong numbers in. That doesn't work.
Yeah.
So making sure you've got the right contact details, and then what we do is just basically send a really polite text, make it quite clear. If you do not reply by 5 p.m, your appointment is cancelled. And yeah, we have cancelled appointments. You're not doing anything illegal. You're not doing anything you shouldn't be. You're just kind of following your salon policy. So just be nice and clear. We've tried to get in touch with you. You have a deposit. Make it very clear this is a big appointment, or even if it's just a cut and blow dry, a big or little appointment. Our staff is going to lose money. Like somebody else could be booked in there. We're very, very busy. We're going to have to cancel the appointment. I'm really sorry. Please get into it. Yeah, just be clear. Don't lie or anything. Just be clear and tell them how it is.
Yeah, no, I think that's absolutely right.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of salons that have said, you know, what do I do?
Yeah.
What do I do if they haven't turned out? And I said, well, get the booking out,
Yeah.
get another one in.
Get another one in. I think another, sorry, I'll just quickly say this.
Yeah, please.
Another one that me and my boss, my mum, were talking about last night was this actually happens quite regularly. So you've booked somebody in, you've had a consultation, and you've noticed they paid the deposit. So you ring them or text them. I always try and ring, and if they don't answer, I'll just text them. But I won't text them on Slick. I will, but I'll also text a number on my personal number, because if they reply to Slick in the salon hours, I might not necessarily see it. But I'm logged in on my phone, I do see it, but just in case I didn't. So they've got my personal number, so they can text me personally. So I'll ring them, say, hi, we've got you booked in, you haven't paid your deposit. And then they'll kind of pause, and they're like, oh yeah, sorry, I can't come. And then we just think, well, what were you going to do? Were you going to ring? This does happen quite a lot. Were you going to ring or not? And because I'm so on it with ringing people, as I say, it never really gets to the point where they haven't come in, because I noticed it before. But it's just the fact that when I ring them, I'm like, they just make an excuse.
Yeah.
So that's just like, were you going to ring and cancel? Probably not. They would have just not rang and wasted our time.
Yeah.
So if you're someone that isn't on it with the deposits, you're not checking, then yeah, they are going to waste your time, because you're going to be sitting waiting them for them at 10 o'clock on Friday, and they're not going to come. So don't be that person to do that. And I think that just comes back into just being like on it with your deposits, just not allowing this to happen. So when that does happen to us, it's like a week in advance, couple days max, but always a week for me or more. Yeah.
Brilliant. I mean, talk about putting your big girl pants on. I love it. So have you got your top tips for us? I know we probably talked about them already, but give us your top tips.
I think top tips, just being organised and just being very, very clear and just open with people, and not being scared. Not being scared to ask for deposits, because they're not losing anything. It's your money. I think, my main one's just not being scared of people, and just being brave, and not being scared. Exactly. And organisation.
I think organisation is probably one of the biggest parts of this, really.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, I wake up quite early, so sometimes I'll be lying in bed and I'm just sitting on my Slick. Now, that's not me saying everybody else should be sitting on Slick, but that's just, if I know that I'm like not doing anything in the morning, I'll just have a quick look, because I work till quite late in the salon. So at night time, I want to come home, have my tea, have a shower, watch Big Brother and go to sleep. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's what I want to do. So for me, my time's just when I wake up in the morning, do it then. And everybody will have their little bit of time, even if it's just a half an hour lunch break where, you know, you can sit, have a little look then, just try to work it into your day, really. That's what I would say.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, Ruby, you've been absolutely wonderful. Thank you for your fantastic advice. I know that this is going to help a lot of other salon owners in the business. So thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to see you again.
Absolutely.
Bye, my darling. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Have a lovely evening. Bye. Bye. Bye.